me again. It's Marno Boshoff from King Price Insurance, sharing on this podcast about organizational culture, or just building a great team culture within your organization. And I think we would love to share a couple of the things that we've learned over time. And today I want to specifically talk to you about a thing we call the Law of Diffusion. Now, the Law of Diffusion, if you have to go and Google it, it's a very simple graph. It's that graph it looks like the bell curve. It just looks exactly like the bell curve, which says that in the front end of that curve, there's your 2.5% of innovators, people that think about new things, want to install new things, want to innovate the way you do things. And so those are only 2.5% usually of your population or your staff count or your team count. The next grouping in that graph is 13.5% of early adopters, 13.5%. So that's the first guys that when the innovators share their new excitement about a thing they want to implement, usually get another 13.5% of people that says, great, we're in immediately. They're excited, they're positive, they support it very quickly. The next group is what we call our early adopters, and that is 34%. So 34%, the next 34% would be early adopters, which will maybe take a little bit slower than your, that's your early majority. I just want to rephrase myself. It's your early majority. They're just a little bit slower than your early adopters, but still they're quite keen. It'll take them maybe another month or so to just catch on, but they'll join. They won't be negative about it. They may just ask a little bit more questions, etc. But they're not negative. They don't oppose it. They're just a bit more careful. But that makes up the first 50%. So it's your innovators, 2.5%, early adopters, 13.5%, and your early majority, 34%. That's 50%. Then the curve, that's where the curve hits its top. From there, it goes downwards. That's where we then get the late majority, again, 34%, and then your laggards, right at the end, 16% of them. That's the guys. So your laggards, man, they will just never join. They will only join the day once their previous option disappears. So as long as they still have the option of the old, they'll try and cling on to the old as long as possible. But the moment you take away that previous option of them, and say, listen, there's only one option left now, this is the thing that we've actually been doing for the last year, then eventually they will join. But why I share the Law of Diffusion with you, this is very important. This is actually why the crux of this whole thing is because your innovators and early adopters, when they come with a new plan or a new idea, very often what you find, you get this excitement of what you want to build or what you want to change. But then in your mind, you start thinking, but you know what, I know so-and-so there in the back is going to say this and going to complain and moan and gossip and divide the team, etc., etc., etc. Now, what happens then is in your own mind, it's not even the person himself. It's just you thinking on behalf of that negative person. In your own mind, you're finding a quarrel that's taking place here between your ears, and it's stealing your energy. It's stealing your enthusiasm of implementing the new idea. So eventually, when you come with this new idea, you're always more hesitant, more careful, etc., which you shouldn't be. You should be excited. You should be driving this new idea of yours. You should be driving a new implementation or the change that's needed within your team, within your company. So I wanted to say, and here's the crux of this matter. What do we really take from the Law of Diffusion? Is this question. What is critical mass when you want to cause change within an organization or team? Where does critical mass lie? You might think, is it at 50% when we have all the positive guys on the one side versus the next? If I have the first 50% on board, is it then? No, it's actually not. So I've got very good news for you. According to the Law of Diffusion, critical mass is when the 2.5% convinces the 13.5%. 16%. If the first 16%, your innovators and your early adopters, jumps onto something, you've got critical mass to cause change. That's fantastic. That's great news. Take your organization right now. It means if you're 100 people, you only literally need 16 people to be on board. The moment those 16 are on board, the next 34 will come. When that 34 comes, 50% is on board. Then eventually your late majority, they will come as change gets implementing very successfully. They will eventually join. And the laggards, once again, will only join, but run with the positive people. Run with those who are embracing the change with you. And make sure that the laggards or the late majority don't hold you back. Don't cause the brakes to be too strong on the system. Make sure you move well, with caution, with wisdom, with all the other things. I'm not just saying rush into stuff. That's not what I'm saying here today. I'm just using the law of diffusion to explain to you how change happens in percentages of people, how people buy into new things. So if you need to change your culture and culturally things are going to change or you're busy implementing them, make sure get the first 16%. You can call them your culture ambassadors. And if those culture ambassadors are on board, then you can just move along. The rest will follow. Stick to it, push through, have perseverance. Change is always something you need to be pushing through and continue with, and don't give up halfway. Great. Thank you very much for sharing, for allowing me to share that with you. So I'm Marno Boshoff from King Price Insurance, sharing on culture.